Iconic. It is a word we probably hear too often, usually to describe something of utmost importance and significance. The Mercedes S-Class is iconic in that it defined what a limousine should be. The Volkswagen Golf practically wrote the rulebook on hatchbacks. And of course, the BMW 3 Series, the car that invented the sports sedan. BMW describes the 3 Series as the heartbeat of the brand, each generation leading the way in design, innovation, and more importantly, driving dynamics. I mean, if you love to drive, you choose a 3 Series. Of course, over time, rivals have narrowed the gap, even surpassing the 3 Series in some areas. So the question is, can BMW shift the goalposts once again? "40 years and 50 million cars later, the BMW 3 Series is undoubtedly the world's most successful sports sedan. Now, BMW did not fly us all the way from Kuala Lumpur to sunny Portugal just so they can tell us how many cars they sold. We are all here to find out whether the all-new 7th generation 3 Series raises the benchmark once again. So let's do that. Before we get to the driving part, let's get acquainted with the styling. Pictures don't do it justice. In the flash, the new 3 Series looks like an F30 that went to the gym and came out flexing muscles. It is still a familiar profile, but there are now more contours and creases, and the fenders bulge just a little bit more. The new 3 Series has also grown longer and wider. The kidney grills are now joined, flanked by twin headlamps that spot a notch, paying tribute to the E46, not modern smartphones. Despite being a bigger car, it also slices through the air with less resistance. How about a drag coefficient of only 0.23? Some say the rear of the G20 resembles that Lexus IS. Maybe, but the smoked out tail lamps with L-shaped graphics are BMW's very own. Put it this way, this may be the sexiest looking butt ever seen on the 3 Series. In fact, there's so much going on, you might not even notice that the Hofmeister King is now presented quite differently. If the external design is a handsome evolution, the interior of the new generation 3 Series is a radical makeover. You see a new architecture, a new design language that follows the 8 Series, and right in front of me, it's something that's very unfamiliar to a BMW owner. There's a 12.3-inch digital display that no longer has the circular dials. They've also moved the stop-start button from the dash to the center console and eliminated the handbrake lever. So people who like analog things, who wants to do manual input, may be a little bit disappointed. But what's important is that the seating position is still entirely familiar, and the driving position that I can get comfortable with is very easy to get. So in that sense, the 3 Series is still a very driver-focused environment, just that it has now been modernized to reflect what the market wants. Some BMW fans are no doubt going to moan about the passing of the analog stuff. After all, the pleasure of driving a 3 Series has always been linked to the tactility of its controls. Yet most would agree that it's about time that BMW embrace change and give customers what they want, which means there are more technology in the 3 Series than ever before. Left the key fob at home? Use your smartphone to unlock and start the car. Drive into a dark lorong only to find a dead end? The G20 has a reversing assistant function that retraces your route and backs out automatically. And even if the intelligent personal assistant still needs work and the digital display for the driver isn't as customizable as a C-Class, these tech toys are going to impress at the showrooms. Now, whether you find these contraptions useful or not doesn't detract from the fact that the interior of the new 3 Series is a significant step up. The use of premium materials and acoustic glass for the windscreen do wonders for perceived quality and refinement. The longer wheelbase also adds rear legroom with more space for shoulders, elbows, and even larger cups of coffee on the center console and door pockets. You know what they say when you can have your cake and eat it? It's more composed, it's more refined than the previous car, but at the same time it's sharper and it's more dynamic to drive. I don't know how they do it all the time, but it looks like BMW has raised the benchmark once again. Now, there are not many manufacturers who would introduce a new car in an international media drive and incorporate both a track as well as road testing. I just had 5 laps on the excellent and very thrilling Portimao circuit in Portugal, and I have to say the new 3 Series is going to make a lot of drivers, for people who love to drive, very happy people. Whenever a car does exactly what you want it to do, you know you have something special in your hands. The last generation F30 was probably the most complete 3 Series BMW ever made. But for the G20, the focus is back on driving. They've made the body more rigid, widened the front and rear tracks significantly, recalibrated the suspension, even developed new dampers that are stiffer but also better at cushioning bumps. On the passively damped 330M Sport, the balance struck between sporty and comfort is near perfect. There is a deep sense of composure through the steering. It may feel lighter and less chatty than before, but this is far more delicate in response. And because of that, the front end of the new 3 Series is that much more willing to go where you point the steering at, shrugging off road cambers and imperfections as if they weren't there. The previous F30 was already pretty good at this, but the G20 is on another level. If the handful of laps on the Portimao circuit in the M330i is anything to go by, there is a lot to look forward to. Powertrains, unfortunately, will be limited at launch. The 330i now has 258 horsepower and 400 Newton meters from an updated 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder, hooked up to, of course, the excellent 8-speed ZF automatic, transferring power to the rear wheels. Just in case you need to know, 0 to 100 takes 5.8 seconds, so it's plenty fast. Some say the 3 Series reflects the soul of BMW as a car maker. And why not? Without the 3 Series, I don't think BMW would be where they are today. Driving the G20 7th generation 3 Series around Portugal in the last 1.5 days. Yes, the car has grown bigger, it is more refined, it is more comfortable, it is more luxurious, but it doesn't mean that BMW has gone soft. Through the wheel, in this seat, I can tell that BMW has not lost their soul. This car is dynamic, this car is fun to drive. I can't wait for it to come to Malaysia. For more information on the all-new 3 Series, log on to AutoBuzz. Thank you for watching.